Hello, welcome back to Cinema Screen. Today we're diving into an epic 2007 action, fantasy, and adventure Pathfinder. Be warned, spoilers are ahead. Proceed with caution and enjoy the journey. The movie begins with a red Indian woman searching for firewood when she spots a white horse. As she chases after the horse, she stumbles upon the wreckage of a Viking ship. Curious, she examines the wreck and discovers a pile of dead bodies. Among them, she finds a shivering boy holding a sword. Feeling compassion for the boy, she quickly takes him back to her village. At the village, the elders initially express reluctance to adopt the boy into their tribe. However, after listening to the woman's heartfelt plea, they agree to accept him as one of their own and name him Ghost. That night, as Ghost sleeps, he has a vivid dream of a massacre orchestrated by his father and other Vikings. In the dream, his father orders him to kill a young girl, but Ghost refuses. This act of defiance leads to him being punished by the Vikings. The story then skips forward 15 years. By now, Ghost has grown into a strong and respected member of the tribe, admired and loved by everyone. One afternoon, a group of traders who visit the village once a year arrives. Among them is Pathfinder, a prominent figure in the trading group. Ghost finds himself drawn to Starfire, Pathfinder's daughter, and develops feelings for her. Later, while the Indian father and Pathfinder are talking, Pathfinder mentions that during a hunting expedition in the cold season, an avalanche wiped out 3/4 of his hunting party. Among those who perished was the person next in line to become the leader of their tribe. That night, during a ritual conducted by Pathfinder for the men of the tribe, he asks Ghost to leave the gathering, saying that Ghost is not suitable to be part of the ceremony. Feeling excluded, Ghost goes off to practice his swordsmanship. Indian father approaches Ghost and offers him comfort, easing his troubled mind. The following morning, Pathfinder and his group prepare to leave the village. As they bid farewell, Starfire removes an ornament from her braided hair and drops it intentionally, allowing Ghost to pick it up and keep it as a reminder of her. Later, Ghost heads into the forest for a hunting expedition, accompanied by a young girl from the tribe who comes along to gather medicinal herbs. As they enter the forest, Ghost instructs the girl not to wander too far and continues on his way. While collecting herbs, the girl suddenly encounters Vikings who have come to massacre the Red Indians. Frightened, she screams and runs back to the village, alerting everyone about the threat. As the villagers gather, the Vikings launch a brutal and merciless attack, killing members of the tribe in horrifying ways. Meanwhile, Ghost, still in the forest, hears the distant war cries and the sound of conch shells blown by the Vikings. Realizing something is wrong, he rushes toward the village, only to find it engulfed in flames and its people slaughtered. Among the chaos, Ghost witnesses Indian father locked in a deadly duel with a Viking warrior. As Ghost approaches, the Viking leader arrives and kills Indian father. Enraged and grief-stricken, Ghost confronts the Vikings, but they prepare for a battle against him as well. Despite fighting bravely, Ghost is forced to flee, narrowly escaping the massacre. The Vikings chase after Ghost, determined to capture and kill him. Despite being relentlessly attacked, Ghost manages to fend them off and keep fleeing. However, one Viking shoots an arrow that strikes Ghost in the back. Severely injured, Ghost continues to run, but eventually falls into a waterfall, causing the Vikings to lose track of him. After emerging from the water, Ghost examines his wound and realizes it is severe. Despite the pain, he struggles onward. Meanwhile, the Vikings begin tracking his trail through the forest. Elsewhere, Pathfinder and his group, while out hunting, discover footprints that lead them to a nearby cave. Suspecting someone has sought refuge there, they cautiously enter the cave to investigate. Inside, they find Ghost. As they approach, Ghost warns them to leave, but he collapses from exhaustion before finishing his words. At that moment, a bear inside the cave attacks the group. Thanks to Pathfinder's exceptional hunting skills, he manages to kill the bear and save the others. They then carry the unconscious Ghost back to their village. There, Pathfinder and Starfire tend to Ghost's wounds, treating them with care. The next morning, Ghost wakes up and warns Pathfinder and the villagers that the Vikings are on their way to the village. He informs them that the Vikings massacred everyone in his tribe and will likely do the same here. As Blackwing suggests they prepare to fight back, Ghost grabs a sword and strikes Blackwing's crude weapon made of wood, demonstrating the superior quality of Viking weaponry. He urges the villagers to abandon the village and flee if they wish to survive. Meanwhile, The Vikings, still tracking Ghost, arrive at the cave he had previously taken shelter in and begin examining it. Frightened by Ghost's warning, the villagers prepare to leave their home and find a safer location. As Pathfinder instructs Starfire and Blackwing on the safest route to take, Ghost overhears their conversation. After Ghost leaves the area, he is followed by Jester, a villager who seems determined to trail behind him. By this time, all the villagers have set out toward their destination, but Pathfinder heads in a different direction. While traveling, Ghost and Jester come across a spot that appears ideal for ambushing their enemies. They thoroughly scout the area and prepare weapons like arrows, intending to engage in combat with the Vikings who are in pursuit. Meanwhile, as the villagers continue their journey, Blackwing notices Starfire is missing. Believing she might have gone searching for Ghost, Blackwing, along with a few others, sets out to find her. That night, as Ghost and Jester sleep inside a cave they found earlier, Ghost has a vivid dream where he sees Pathfinder dying at his hands. Awakened and unsettled, he encounters Starfire, who has arrived at their location. Shortly after, the pursuing Vikings, following Ghost's trail, reach the area and start searching. The Vikings are caught off guard by traps set by Ghost, and as they try to search the area, they are ambushed by Ghost, Jester, and Starfire. Most of the Vikings are killed in the attack. Following this, Ghost instructs Jester and Starfire to retreat deeper into the cave while he faces the remaining Vikings alone. Ghost taunts the Vikings, luring them into another trap he has prepared. In their rage, the Vikings charge at Ghost, only to get ensnared. At this moment, Blackwing and his group arrive at the scene, but they fall into the trap. Vikings who escape the trap kill everyone else caught in it. Ghost, now on horseback, rescues Blackwing and flees the area. However, with the Vikings in pursuit, Blackwing offers to stay back and delay them while urging Ghost to find and protect Starfire. Ghost reluctantly agrees and escapes, while Blackwing confronts the Vikings. Blackwing fights valiantly but is eventually captured. The Vikings proceed into the cave in search of Ghost. As they comb through the cave, one Viking stumbles upon Starfire, who has been hiding. She attacks him and escapes, but is soon caught by another Viking. At this critical moment, Jester intervenes and attacks the Viking, enabling Starfire to escape. However, in the struggle, the Viking kills Jester. When Ghost arrives shortly after, he finds Jester's lifeless body and is filled with grief. As Ghost moves away, he reunites with Starfire. The two of them exit the cave and witness a horrifying sight, the Vikings torturing Blackwing by setting him on fire. At that moment, Pathfinder arrives at the scene and, unable to watch Blackwing suffer further, ends his life with an arrow. Soon after, the Vikings spot Ghost, Starfire, and Pathfinder. The trio decides not to flee, but instead chooses to stand their ground and fight. Although they fight valiantly, the sheer number of Vikings overwhelms them, and they are eventually captured. The Vikings interrogate them, demanding to know the whereabouts of the villagers. When the trio refuses to answer, the Vikings brutally kill Pathfinder in front of them. The Viking leader then approaches Ghost, revealing that he recognizes him. He claims to have known Ghost's father, a legendary Viking warrior. The leader again demands information about the villagers' location, but Ghost remains silent. In response, the Vikings bring Starfire forward, preparing to cut off her hand as punishment. At this critical moment, Ghost intervenes and agrees to lead the Vikings to the villagers. Starfire strongly opposes Ghost's decision, but he reassures her that it is a strategy to deceive the Vikings. As the group moves forward, they come across signs indicating the path the villagers had taken. Ghost finds a small doll in the area and catches it. Using the doll as a distraction, Ghost manages to guide the Vikings onto a different path, one that leads away from the villagers. That night, while traveling, the group encounters a frozen lake. As they cross it, the ice cracks beneath them, and several Vikings fall into the icy water and perish. Ghost narrowly escapes with his life. By the following morning, the group reaches the base of an avalanche-prone mountain. Here, they find the remains of a hunting party from the village who had died due to a previous avalanche. The treacherous terrain forces them to move cautiously, tethering themselves together as they traverse the mountains. Eventually, they reach a resting point. At this moment, Ghost points the Viking leader toward a distant village, claiming it to be where the villagers are hiding. In a final twist, Ghost turns to Starfire and asks her to strike him, setting the stage for the next part of their plan. Realizing it was a strategy, Starfire attacks Ghost. Witnessing this, the Viking leader intervenes and orders Ghost to stop and punish her. However, instead of punishing Starfire, Ghost uses his weapon to strike the last Viking standing, causing him to fall off the cliff. Since they are all tied together, this triggers a chain reaction where everyone begins to fall. Eventually, only Ghost, Starfire, the Viking leader, and one other Viking remain, as the rest tumble down the cliff. In the end, even these four are about to fall. Ghost manages to cut the rope binding him and Starfire, but fails to cut his own. As a result, he, along with the Viking leader and the other Viking, begins to fall. Their rope gets tangled on a tree, leaving them dangling precariously. At this point, the Viking leader cuts the rope, binding the Viking behind him, causing the unfortunate Viking to fall to his death. The leader then starts climbing upward. He reaches the top and attacks Ghost, who is still hanging on. Meanwhile, Ghost tells Starfire to leave the place and run. Trusting his words, Starfire escapes. Ghost then shouts loudly, causing a fall of snow from the mountain peak. The falling snow hits the Viking leader. Despite the chaos, Ghost manages to climb back to safety. However, the Viking leader survives the avalanche and resumes attacking Ghost. What follows is a fierce battle between the two, ending with Ghost defeating the Viking leader and pushing him off the cliff. Later, Starfire returns to her village and rejoins her people. Ghost eventually arrives there too, and the villagers warmly welcome him with great respect. With a series of thrilling moments and action-packed sequences, this beautiful movie concludes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe for more exciting movie recaps. See you in the next one.